Revelation chapter 9 verses 16 to 18 says, "The army had 200 million soldiers on horses. I heard them say how many there were. I saw, as God wanted to show me, the horses, and the men on them. The men had pieces of iron over their chests. These were red like fire and blue like the sky and yellow like sulphur. The heads of the horses looked like the heads of lions. Fire and smoke and sulphur came out of their mouths. 1/3 part of all men was killed by the fire and smoke and sulphur that came out of their mouths." In this chapter, the Apostle John talks about a vision he had in which 200 million men on horses made up a huge army. Revelation's vision represents a strong and destructive force that has been let loose on the earth. The massive number of warriors represented by the army of 200 million troops on horseback is indicative of an overpowering and unconquerable force. The description of individuals wearing iron plates over their chests implies that they are armed. The iron represents their invulnerability, stressing their combat preparedness. Intensity, fierceness, and supernatural components are all associated with the colors red, blue, and yellow. The color red depicts the ferocity of their assault, the color blue their celestial origin or divine strength, and the color yellow their sulfuric destructiveness. The horses' lion-like heads provide a visual cue that they are dangerous predators. The lion is a symbol of power and strength because of these qualities. This furthers the concept of an army that inspires terror in its foes. The devastating force and judgment of this army are symbolized by fire, smoke, and sulphur spewing from the mouths of the horses. The idea is that even their very breath or words unleash divine retribution onto the world. Fire, smoke, and sulphur cause the deaths of 1/3 of the population, indicating enormous devastation and loss of life. The use of fire, smoke, and sulphur evokes similar imagery from the Old Testament, such as the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, Genesis chapter 19 verse 24. The plagues described in the book of Exodus, Exodus chapter 9 verses 23 to 24, and serves to emphasize the force of the army and the severity of the judgment being depicted. The overall theme of this Revelation text is one of heavenly judgment and the retribution that follows human disobedience. It's a stark warning to anyone who would reject God's rule and choose evil over good. The army, in all its devastating might, is a metaphor for the last judgment and retribution that await the sinful in Revelation. It's worth noting that many people throughout history have come to different conclusions about this section in Revelation. Understanding the significance of the passage and taking into account present surroundings is essential for describing the 200 million strong army in modern terms. Although it may be difficult to establish a firm connection, we may nonetheless speculate about plausible explanations. The 200 million strong army might stand for the United Nations or any other large international organization that has joined forces for military purposes. Troops from different countries working together for a same goal or in reaction to a major international danger. A coalition of states or regional alliances that have joined forces for economic or military goals, with an army size of 200 million. Among the world's great economic powers and geopolitical alliances, this might represent a powerful alliance with substantial influence or conflict potential. The army might also be seen as a technologically superior military force with state-of-the-art equipment. The size and might of this highly superior army may be represented by the number 200 million. It is possible that as our knowledge of technology grows, advances like improved robotics, drones, or artificial intelligence might help assemble a large army. In this regard, the 200 million strong army may stand in for a highly advanced military in the not-too-distant future. In addition, cyber conflict. Given the prevalence of technology in today's society, the 200 million strong army might also be a metaphor for a large cyber warfare campaign. According to this theory, a powerful group of hackers, cybercriminals, or state-sponsored actors is capable of disrupting international computer networks and other critical infrastructure throughout the world. The number 200 million might also be interpreted symbolically, rather than as an actual military force, as a big population or demographic group. It could stand for a sizable group of individuals who share an ideology, purpose or identity and band together to create a strong social or political force, like Islam. Terrorist or extremist groups may be seen as a contemporary analog to the Army of Revelation. The symbolic significance of the text might be indicative of the worldwide influence and widespread dread caused by such a group, even if their numbers fall short of the actual 200 million. The military might represent a deadly epidemic, biological weapon, or extremely contagious sickness that spreads quickly and has catastrophic results. These hypotheses are offered as potential avenues of inquiry into the allegory of the Bible. The Book of Revelation is full with symbolism. Therefore, any effort to translate its meaning into modern language must be made with great care and modesty. According to Revelation and the impending Great Tribulation, the 200 million strong army will soon be upon us. Again, if we are Christians, we will not have to worry about this massive army because we will have already been taken or caught up by the church. You may easily avoid having to see this enormous army by turning to Christ and repenting. Please like, share and subscribe to Grace to Prophecy Network.